Welcome back. Episode 18. We're here again. Umineko. I could not wait to get back to this. We got the sweet music going on in the back. We left right on a cliffhanger. Natsuhi and Eva going at it. Ready to throw down. And Battler just like, boom, claps his hands together, demands attention. And he says, looks like we've got everyone's views on record now. So, he's been observing, I'm going to assume. And maybe he's ready to call someone out on some lies maybe or something. Maybe he's got everyone's motives down and he's going to put this together. I don't know what he's thinking. We'll have to see. All right. Let's go for it. Show us what you're thinking, Battler.
ダメだな。全然ダメだぜ。エヴァおばさん。
Eva?
ダメって何がだよ、バトラー。
Jessica looked up at me, hanging on to my every word. Aunt Eva's expression was confident as ever.
全然ダメって何が?
I didn't catch anything. If she slipped up somewhere and said something she shouldn't have, I did not catch it. But you know, I was so like enthralled by the last scene in the showdown that maybe I wasn't analyzing what they were saying too hard.
バトラ君、聞かせてよ。
一方からしか見られないから、夏日おばさんしかありえないって思い込んじまうのさ。
Okay. So that means it's probably neither of them?
別に夏日おばさんを擁護するわけじゃねえが、そんなハッタリのチェックメイトじゃ通用しねえってことさ。
Bluff of a checkmate.
レシートを軸にした推理はまずまずだとは思う。筋は悪くない。だが、俺の採点じゃせいぜい65点ってとこだ。
Big brain Battler coming in here. All right.
これが答案なら。
Giving a
居残りで
judge.
補修ってとこだぜ。
Being the judge of everyone's
あら、じゃあレシートで封印されている扉をどうやって破ってお父様を失踪させられるというの？私の説以外に。
エヴァおばさんの説は確かに面白い。そしてその説以外にじい様が失踪できる方法がないって言い切れるなら、最終目撃者である夏日おばさんが黒であると確かに言い切れるだろう。だが夏日おばさんが無実で濡れ衣である可能性が残っている以上、そうだと断言することはできね
え。ならバトラ君は夏日姉さん以外の誰にお父様を失踪させられたというの？姉さんしかありえないのよ。私のレシートがそれを証明してしまったわ。一度目に書斎に訪れた夏日姉さん、そして二度目に私と訪れるまでの間、書斎は完全に密室で密室開封後には失踪している。これで夏日姉さんが犯人じゃないというなら、どんなトリックがあるっていうの？
だから65点なんだよ、エヴァおばさん。じゃあここでチェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。
like if I had to guess, I'd still say Kanon and Genji are lying about there being another way out of the room because they know that Kinzo's okay, so they don't have to answer to anyone else or tell the truth to anyone else.
どうやって外部からじい様を失踪させるかじゃない。どうやって内部からじい様が失踪するかって考えるんだ。扉にはレシートが挟まれていたから使用されていない。窓も 出ることはできても外側からは施錠できず、しかもエヴァおばさんは書斎を訪れた時に窓の施錠を確認している。だから窓も使用されていない。
Right.
その時点では確かに書斎は密室だった。
Yeah.
これは認めるしかない。だがしかし書斎は永遠に密室だったわけじゃない。
Okay.
レシートの封印さえ解かれれば扉は使用可能になり脱出可能になる。
Oh. Is he trying to get at Kinzo slipped out the moment they opened the door to look for him? Maybe?
つまり夏日おばさんがどうやってじい様を失踪させたかじゃない。どうやってじい様は書斎を脱出したのかって考えるんだよ。じい様の書斎はただの書斎じゃねえんだよな。源氏さんの話じゃトイレからキッチン、ベッドルームまであるちょいとした家並みじゃねえか。例えばベッドの下にでも潜って隠れたらおばさんたちは部屋からいなくなったと思い込めるぜ。エヴァおばさんもそこまで調べてきたわけじゃねえだろ。
Under the bed.
そしておばさんたちは失踪したと思い開花へ戻る。
I think it'd be kind of funny to see Kinzo like hiding under the bed from his daughter and his daughter-in-law.
この時レシートはもうない。つまりじい様は密室である間は部屋に隠れ続け、エヴァおばさんたちをやり過ごした後に部屋から脱出することでこの密室を破ることができる。
何よそれ。どうしてお父様がそんな妙なことをして部屋を抜け出さなきゃならない。口頭無形にも程があるわよ。
ああ、口頭無形かもな。だがそれでも夏日おばさんが濡れ衣かもしれない可能性は示してる。エヴァおばさんのレシートは完璧じゃねえ。チェスで言えばチェックくらいにはなったろ。だがチェックメイトじゃねえ。そして俺が最高に気に入らねえのはそれを夏日おばさんに釈明しろと迫ってそれができなきゃ黒だって断定しようとしたエヴァおばさんのその論法さ。
It doesn't make any sense. If you're not guilty of it, you don't know how he got out. The logic doesn't make any sense there.
それがまかり通るってんだな。この後ろ見ここでもう一回チェス盤をひっくり返させてもらおうじゃねえか。
Whoa. All right, Battler. Nice CG.
エヴァおばさん、あんたの論法によるならよ、あんたと秀吉おじさんが昨日親父たち6人を殺害してからのこのことゲストハウスに帰ったんじゃないってことをこの場で釈明してもらわなくちゃならねえぜ。夏日おばさんに釈明を強いたんだ。あんたにはもちろん自身の潔白を釈明できるんだろうな。
Fuck yeah. Put on Eva in her place.
じい
Come
様
on.
の遺産が全部転がり込むエヴァおばさんよ。
Oh.
そうだぜ。エヴァおばさんだって十分怪しいじゃねえかよ。母さんがじい様の最終目撃者だから怪しいって言うなら、エヴァおばさんだって父さんたちの最終目撃者じゃないか。バトラーの言う通りだぜ。自分たちは殺してないってことを証明してみせろよ。
僕もお母さんの推理は少し勇み足だと思うな。
You told George to shut up like 3 times lately. He's not exactly 100% on your side
レ
right
シート
now.
の件は確かに重要なヒントだと思う。でもそれはバトラ君の言う通り、夏日おばさんが何がしかの犯人であることを断定できるものじゃない。僕たちは等しく夏日おばさんだけが責められる道理はない。
誇り高きお父様が床に這いつくばってベッドの下に。
Hey, don't change the subject. We were talking about how you needed to prove your innocence. Don't just skirt by that.
そんな誰事で説明がつくと思って。
それならエヴァおばさんが先に説明しろよ。 特任を誰がどうやって殺して、そして自分が関わっていないという証拠を示してみろってんだ。
Oh. Oh. It's the asthma? Oh my god. You got an inhaler around?
お嬢様、お嬢様。
Yeah. Oh. I was so into reading all this text or listening to this like insane back and forth yelling. I completely forgot I needed to read. Jessica suddenly started coughing. At first, I thought she was just choking after yelling too loud, but before long, I realized how painful it looked. Jessica kept coughing and choking, down on her hands and knees.
ジェシカ、しっかり。なんじゃ先生。
ジェシカさん、吸入器を早く。
Yeah.
私が持ってきているのがあります。
Dr. Nanjo pulled a bronchodilator. Bronchodilator. I've never heard of an inhaler called that. Or, okay, it's a type of inhaler. Bronchodilator inhaler from his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Jessica. Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes break into violent coughing fits and have to use that? However, 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain. It's getting worse, huh?
ジェシカってこんなに喘息ひどかったっけ？
ここ数年でだいぶ悪くなったんだよ。
I mean, I don't even know how long it's been since we talked about the curse and everyone in the family having their own issues. Especially, I mean, the whole Kraus financial situation, the Natsuhi headaches, the Jessica asthma. It's just still haven't gotten any closer to figuring out if that's the right way of looking at it all. But now I'm being reminded that that's even a thing.
大丈夫な時はいいんだけどね。突然発作が来ると咳が止まらなくなるんだよ。
Oh, God.
お嬢様、お薬です。さあ。
Taking the inhaler from Canon-kun, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. It looked like her throat would still itch for a while, but she had it under control.
大丈夫かよ、ジェシカ。びっくりしたぜ。
大したことねえよ。
You know, it'd be funny if, like, Ava used this opportunity to fucking ditch the room and she was just gone because she had no idea how to answer the question. She, like, she just completely escaped.
心配すんじゃねえぜ。
Damn, Jessica. Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body, and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. This disturbance had made the dangerous atmosphere up until now seem slightly unfocused. But that's fine. That kind of battle of mutual suspicion is completely unnecessary. When you think about it, finding alibis for each other and looking for the culprit is probably meaningless. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people. Right. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, we don't need to pursue the Aunt Eva line of questioning because Aunt Eva was being unfair. Like, the entire point of Jessica and Battler throwing that back on Aunt Eva was to show how unfair the question was and nonsensical. You know, you turn it back around on her and show her that she wouldn't do any better trying to answer a question like that. And when the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly, solving all of the riddles and arresting the culprit. The end.
確かにバ
Oh
トラ君
yeah?
の言う通りかしら。
Yeah?
夏日姉さんが疑わしいように、私たちも疑わしさを拭えていない。
Maybe a little apology
そ
is
れ
in
を今
order?
議論し合うのは確かに不毛ね。明日、
Mhm.
警察に全てを任せれば済むだけの話よ。でもバトラ君だって知りたいんじゃないの？
No apology then?
犯人を。大切な人を失った痛みを思い知らせてやるために1秒でも早く知りたいんじゃない？
Oh, out for revenge, huh?
それは否定しないです。これだけの上等を決めてくれやがった野郎を、たとえ一日であったとしてものさばらした。でもだからといって18人の中の誰かを疑いたくはない。さっきはああ言ったが、俺はエヴァおばさんだって疑いたくない。俺にとってのエヴァおばさんはちゃめっ気があっていつも楽しくさせてくれる最高のおばさんだ。そんなおばさんとこんな罵り合いはしたくねえ。
I mean, of your three aunts, Battler, she's still third place. Sorry.
ここにいる誰だってそんなことは望んでねえはずさ。だろみんな。
バトラ君に同じ意味のない罵り合いだね。多分これだけの人数が朝からひとところにずっと集まってるからみんなストレスが溜まってるんだよ。
Hmm.
でしょうな。無理もないことです。言ってできるものではありませんが、なるべく皆さんリラックスしましょう。
Well. Yeah, everyone just relax. Take
Eva.
a chill pill.
わしらも頭を冷やすべきとちゃうか。レシートの件は確かにお父さんの失踪を探る上で重要な手がかりになると思うで。
It's a big clue, huh?
警察が来たら話すといいやろ。
そうね。
Don't remember that face from Aunt Eva.
そう。レシートの一件でつい鬼の首を取ったような気持ちになっちゃったのね。確かに夏日姉さんだけを疑うのはフェアじゃないわ。
That smile's a little creepy, Eva.
私たちだって等しく疑わしい。でもね、バトラ君、レシートの話だけは本当よ。これ忘れないでね。そしてこれがどういう意味を持つかもう一度よく考えてみてね。
Huh. Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. It looked like they planned on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちはこんな推理ごっこしても意味はないのよ。だってどうせ警察が全て明かしてくれるんですもの。
That's right. Even if we don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. And when those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will settle itself. No, don't think it's gonna be that easy. That's right. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved, even if we do nothing. When the seagulls cry. Name drop.
これ以上夏日姉さんも私の顔を見ていたくはないでしょ。
Name drop, huh? Interesting. So it's the point that over the game that's just never going to happen. We're always waiting for the seagulls to cry, always waiting for them to return to the harbor at Rockinjima Island, and they never do, and we're stuck here with this murderer and who knows what else. I
私も同じよ。
feel the same. Wow.
確か姉さんは昨日ゲストハウスに帰らなくて済むようにって客室を用意してくれたのよね。あそこはバスもトイレもあるし、鍵もチェーンもかかる。
Oh.
横になれるベッドもあるし、主人もマリアちゃんとチャンネル争いをせずにテレビを見ることができるわ。
Still ever holding on to that rifle.
お好きになさるといいでしょう。でもくれぐれも用心を。ありがとう姉さん。そして余計なお世話よ。
Wow. Wow.
姉さんはみんなの監視をよろしくね。犯人はこの中に必ずいるんだから。そして姉さんも自分が監視をされていることをお忘れなく。
Shoo-shoo.
捨て台詞はそれで十分ですか？
Shoo-shoo.
十分よ。じゃあね、夏日姉さん。源氏さん、夕食になったら呼んでね。それまでチェーンをかけて閉じこもってるわ。源氏、カノン。お二人を客室までお送りを。
Both of them, huh?
結構よ。送り狼なんて嫌だもの。むしろ私たちが部屋に行くまで誰もこの部屋を出ないでくれる方が安心よ。ジョージ行くわよ。
僕はここでみんなといるよ。
But if Eva and Hideyoshi are suspicious, how do we know, if no one's escorting them, that they're really going to go in their rooms and lock themselves in?
ジョージ、この部屋に犯人がいるのよ。
Wow.
そんなところにいるつもり？
Man.
この部屋を出るということは親族の誰かを疑うのと同じことだよ。僕はあんな恐ろしいことができる人間が親族にいるなんて信じない。
ジョージ、あなたからも言ってやってよ。
ジョージももう一人前の男や。そのジョージの仁義がこの部屋から出えへん言わせるなら、それも勝手やろ。好きにさせたれ。
父さん。
Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. Now how many are in the parlor? There we got Maria, Battler, George, Jessica, Natsuhi, Genji, Cannon, Nanjo. Is Kumasawa in the room? Like, where is she? I feel like we haven't heard from her in so long. So it's 9, right? Because we had 11 in the room before. Yeah, so 9 left. Kumasawa, yeah, what the fuck is she doing? The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find it was already evening. Had we really spent that much time worrying about needless things, talking with each other, fighting with each other? Feeling bored, I started scratching at my head when... Maria and I made eye contact. Hi, Maria. I was a little surprised since I thought she was completely immersed in the TV.
今なら信じるぜ。
Oh? What made you change your mind?
手紙も殺人もすべてベアトリーチェの仕業だ。
Or is this connecting back to the conversation we talked about earlier where you need some evil to blame it on? You need some entity to push the blame onto to help you get through it.
いや、むしろ頼むからそうだと名乗り出てほしいぜ。
Oh yeah.
19人目の仕業ってことにさせてくれ。
You wish, you hope, but
じゃなきゃ俺たち18人はいつまでも互いを疑い合わなくちゃならねえ。これなら19人目の存在を信じる方がマシさ。
okay. Even if you don't believe it can happen, you hope for the impossible.
扉も窓も開けずにじいさまを外へ連れ出すなんて。ベアトリーチェならお茶の子さいさいなんだろう。
Oh, I see. Using more Beatrice to explain things that can't be explained without otherwise suspecting your family. Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head and then raised her face again. Don't smile. Oh, I knew she was gonna switch. That's very Danganronpa-esque. The switch, ma'am.
魔女の前に扉の鍵なんて何の役にも立たないんだよ。ベアトリーチェは72中のすべてに精通する。
All 72.
33位のガープは望む相手を望む場所へ瞬時に運ぶ力を与えるし、彼女にとってどのような密室に閉じこもった人間だろうと連れ出すことは難しいことでも何でもないんだよ。
See, it's right back to has all this conversation about who done it been useless because there actually is a supernatural entity out there that is to blame for everything. Lovely, lovely.
魔女はすげえな。頼むから。もしまだ事件を起こす気なら絶対に人間には無理なことをして俺に19人目を。いや、魔女の存在を信じさせてくれよ。
She must exist, right?
いいよ。あったら伝えておくよ。
Man. Crap. Nothing's made sense to me for a while now. Just when I want to believe in a 19th person, I deny it. And just when I want to believe there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I want there to be more than just the 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19 people. I get what you're trying to say, yeah. The number of people in this mansion is 19 is greater than X, which is greater than 18. So the number of people can't be represented by an integer. Well, yeah, I mean, a witch, can you really call that a person? Is it a human? Maybe it's not an integer. It's not a 19th person. It's just a whole separate entity. However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. Did I read that right? Yeah. You shouldn't be able to show the number of people without anything but an integer. And yet, 19 greater than x greater than 18. How do you explain the fraction less than 1? It's no wonder. That 19th person was something that couldn't be seen. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer, you couldn't see that person. That which cannot be seen. Because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she is invisible. Is there a 19th person or not? Does the witch exist or not? 19 greater than x greater than 18. The witch exists somewhere in that x. Alright, how far are we going? Ooh. 4 to 6, okay. We're approaching evening now. Getting into evening. And the rain never stops, of course. No seagulls crying today. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like discussion of the case was itself taboo, so no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So, at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled.
少しだけ雨足が弱まった気がするね。
まだいっぱい降ってるよ。
Yeah.
仮にやんだって、この島には船がねえんだしな。
See, it's stuff like that that makes it seem like Maria doesn't share memories with her other self or whatever. Like her other self would be like, obviously the rain's not stopping. We're in fucking Witch Town. But this one's all upset about it. I don't know.
船が明日すぐに来てくれりゃいいんだがよ。
I wonder what time it's supposed to arrive. Since we have a clock, we can keep track of the number of hours until it gets here.
洋館バカンさんもうお腹いっぱいだぜ。
母さん、明日
There we go.
船はいつ来るのかな。
Just as I ask.
本来なら帰りの船は今日の3時に来てくれることになっていました。
Ooh, not till 3 p.m.? Oh, that's normal. Okay.
先方も台風が過ぎてから来直すと電話をしてくれたでしょうが、あいにく電話は普通ですから。でも向こうも子供の使いではありません。客人の方々の送迎目的だと教えてありますから、おそらく明日の朝一番で。
First thing in the morning.
多
Okay.
分9時頃くらいに来てくれ
9
るでしょう。
o'clock. Great. Okay. We have a amount of time, 15 hours until boat arrives. It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized that it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. Oh, we're past 7 now. Okay. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. Have you just been in the kitchen, like, all day long, I guess? She had laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven everyone's low spirits with some food. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes highly praised. Cannon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Kennen also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward, even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange the food, Kennen's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled as though everything was fine.
きれいに盛り付けられてますよ。カノン君もお上手ですよ。
There we go.
シャノン姉さんだったらもっと綺麗に。
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of, if only it wasn't Shannon, if only it was someone else going through your head, Canon. I mean, understandably, but his desire for it to just be swapped with anyone else. It's a little scary, I guess. Canon stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Canon was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face and her brutal end, he grimaced. Genji spoke kindly to Canon as he advanced upon. Nanjo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown sour, and Genji had become his opponent in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request.
Hi. 今は忘れます。
それがいいだろう。
Genji purposefully refrained from facing Canon as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Canon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nanjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words.
金蔵さんもどこへ行かれたんでしょうな。
Yeah.
ご無事だといいのですが。わかりません。
So, these guys did not help him escape and do not know where he could be. They're just putting their faith in Kinzo, in that everything is going according to plan. Furniture again.
私には今夜まだ何か良くないことが起こるような気がして怖いの。怖いことなど何も。
Oh, shoot. I just realized we're hitting second twilight. We're getting close to it. We're past 7 already. Oh, snap. Those who remain shall tear apart the two who were close. Any new ideas on that? I still feel like Eva and Hideyoshi are the two, like, partners right now.
私はただ後ろ宮家にお仕えするだけですので。
Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Could Genji possibly be thinking that he'd be left out of this? He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside this mansion, but he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kinzo had devised something. Who's the, Okay, nothing, okay. Thought I missed something. If you liken this island to chess, Kinzo had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces had been defeated. Okay? Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed that he alone was on the outside of the chessboard and therefore safe? I mean, if anyone's outside the chessboard, I feel like Nanjo would be it. he alone seems like disconnected from everything else. Not part of the family, not part of the family's servants. Nanjo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard, lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji, who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone. No, who was confident of his position as Kinzo's only chosen friend. Just another one of those pieces laid out on the chessboard.
源氏さん、
Hmm.
私は今夜が本当に怖いのです。
Yeah.
無事に明日の朝を迎えられることを心より願っています。
Oh, we're with Eva and Hideyoshi. Nice. The guest room Eva and Hideyoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests before the guest house's construction. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in these rooms every family conference and were very familiar with them. This room was just like a room at a hotel, with a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor.
やっぱり家族だけだとリラックスできるな。
Anyone would relax here more than the parlor. Like, come on now. After what's happened?
他のみんなも客室にこもって鍵をかけてりゃええんや。
夏日姉さんが客間を出るなって威張り散らしてるんだもん。
Oh,
誰も
you.
口答えなんてできないでしょ。
All you care about bringing down Natsuhi.
あの人ずーっと冷や飯を食ってきたから兄さんが死んでやっと天下が来たって張り切ってんのよ。
That's not the vibe I've been getting. She did go for the gun immediately, so she did go for the power grab. But I don't think it's her being happy that her husband's dead and getting like, ooh, now I'm in charge. It's not what it feels like.
まったくずうずうしいったらあるしな。
Oh, now you're behind closed doors so you can be all whiny with your husband?
まあそう言うな。夏日さんもあれで結構頑張っとるんやで。お前もそう突っかからんでもええやないか。
You could have said that like any other time today.
さっきのレシートの件もあそこまでは言い過ぎやで。
You just kept quiet. I guess you didn't want to put your own wife on the spot, so, yeah.
だってあそこで言わなかったらもう言うタイミングがないんだもん。
Eva, sulking cutely and looking at the television, sat alongside Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed. She's got a very different demeanor when she's alone with her husband, that's for sure.
でも、こうして二人きりになるのはずいぶん久しぶりよね。
It's a little endearing, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That gap between that harsh, smug, stern person around the rest of the family and now
そうやな。
that all just kind of melts away as soon as she gets some alone time.
思えばわしもお前も老けたもんや。ジョージが生まれてから何もかもがあっという間や。
本当にあっという間よ。子供を作るの焦りすぎたかしら。
Ava's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought of it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Her older brother Kraus had been unable to father a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage to Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Eva herself had thought that, since her name would be moved outside the Yoshinomiya register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to the headship was born or not. And then, one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Or maybe it was the whisperings of the devil that she had listened to her in her greed. If she could give birth to a successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Yoshinomiya register? So this music track, it played a lot in like the first few hours of the game. But now that it's like a little more rare and we have a lot less happy music, it's pretty nice to hear it again. If things went well, might she have a chance to inherit the Yoshinomiya family herself? When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he had approved of it instantly. This wasn't because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more the long-forgotten thing called family. So when they got married, he hadn't fussed over which last name they were to keep, and had quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Yoshinomiya family register. Aww. That's very wholesome, Hideyoshi. It hadn't been easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Eva knew Kinzo's personality well. So by choosing the time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, she was magnificently able to make him accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Yoshinomiya family register. George would eventually become the successor to the Yoshinomiya family. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. He had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That was why he had not been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon. Oh yeah. So when she learned that Shannon was dead and the engagement was now invalid, oh no, don't say you were happy. Though part of her had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her had been also relieved that her dear George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. Oh god. Ava, I finally had some positive thoughts about you, and then you just go and...
私、クラウス兄さんのことが昔から嫌いだったわ。偉そうで威張ってて。自分がやがては当主になるのだと自慢してて。だから、それに一矢報いてやりたかった。でも、それは子供の頃の感情なのよ。でもその感情は結局自分の人生のほとんどを支配した。それだけならまだいい。その感情はあなたやジョージまで巻き込んで振り回してしまった。
エヴァ、備え自分を責めるな。
Hideyoshi got up and held Eva's shoulder. She could feel warm understanding from him.
わしはな、自分の人生はもうとっくに折り返しに入っとる。でもな、今日までの生活を後悔したことは一度もないで。一度もや。エヴァと一緒で他の男どもじゃ味わえん楽しい人生になったと思っとる。戦争で身寄りを失ったわしにもう一度家族のぬくもりを教えてくれた。 だから後ろ宮の家には感謝しとるし、わしの唯一の家だと思っとる。わしとお前が歩んできた人生、今日まで
Whoa.
ほんまに楽しい
Did
人
I
生やった
accidentally
で。
press something here? No. I felt like the voice just changed all of a sudden. Okay. Just making sure.
ありがとう、あなた。
This is a mostly sweet scene. There were a few questionable bits, but Eva hung her head, burying her face in Hideyoshi's chest. Probably no one in the parlor could even imagine that this side of Eva existed. Yeah. I don't mind knowing it. It helps me
わしや。
warm up to Eva a little bit more.
今日までお前と一緒にいて後悔した日なんてあらへん。
私もよ。あなたと一緒になれてよかった。
Well. Oh my god. It just clicked in my head. It just clicked in my head. This is 100% the scene that sets up the two who are close. So much so, it sets up the two who are close. Like, I already suspected, yeah, these guys are partners in crime. They're, you know, they're the two best buddies out of everyone remaining. But this scene, like, drives that home 10 times more. Everyone who remains are going to tear them apart. What could that entail? Why? Huh.
わしが見張ってなくてもしっかり仕事ができる一人前や。で、正月あたりをのんびりモルジブあたりで過ごさんか。わしら二人水いらずや。
Was this line not voiced? Didn't hear a voice.
毎年
Hmm.
年賀状の返礼で寝る暇もないとか言ってるじゃない。
次の正月だけはなしや。年賀状はみん。黙って下のお年玉くじだけチェックするんや。今年はカラーテレビくらい当てたいで。
やだ、モルジブでお年玉くじのチェックなんてしたくない。
じゃあそいつもなしや。水いらずのんびりでジョージが生まれる直前の新婚時代の続きをちょいとしてみんか。
それならいいわね。
Nice.
モルジブはええとこらしいで。
It's a flag, but nice anyway.
なんもない島に美しいサンゴ礁と水上コテージが並んでてな。
新婚時代の続きっていつからなの？
仕事納めしたらすぐや。旅行店に聞いてみんとわからんが、多分大晦日前には。
いや、今すぐがいい。
Well. Eva nagged at his lips in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. The only sounds that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer on the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. That was a nice scene, and now that I understand what they're doing, I'm 99% sure it's what they're doing. It's simultaneously not a nice scene, because I feel like I know what's coming. All right. We're at like 55 minutes, so we will call it there and continue on in the next episode. Where, I assume next time we will get to Twilight 2 and see the two get torn apart. Whatever that means. Can't wait to see what it means. Whew, alright. Sounds good. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.